Childhood neglect can be one of the most difficult things to heal from because often it's something that is completely out of our awareness until it's brought to our conscious mind. Unless someone tells us or educates us about childhood neglect, we could be suffering from the effects of it for our entire life and be completely blind to it. And you may be wondering, what is childhood neglect? You may even feel that you don't deal with that or that it's not applicable to you. But have a listen because you might find that childhood neglect is something that is so deeply interwoven into our fabric of being that we simply brush by it without even noticing it. So today I'm sharing 3 ways that you can powerfully heal from childhood neglect. So childhood neglect is when one or both of our parents isn't able to adequately provide us with what we need as a child. What we fundamentally need as a child is love, provision, and protection. And if any 3 of these are missing, we can have a split. And what I mean by a split is we kind of separate from our heart a little bit because it can be so painful to be in a state, be in your heart, to be in a vulnerable state and feel the feelings of not enough love, not enough provision, not enough protection. And it can deeply torment a child heart. So as a way to cope with that, we split. We create a divide, a division between our mind and our heart. And as we go on in our lives, we form all of these different protective mechanisms to keep that division, to keep that protection from actually experiencing the pain that accompanies any of the deficits that we felt. So for instance, if your parent didn't show up to maybe some of your important school events, or you had a nanny who took care of you a lot of the time, you didn't have a lot of quality time with your parents, or it could be something drastic like one of your parents was ill and passed away, and you just have this void of love that you never had filled. These are all really, really, really painful to a child, nonetheless an adult, right? So an adult can feel these things, but as a child, we're really forming our most core self. So it can completely create some sort of fragmented soul in regards to our experience of love and fulfillment and feeling cherished and adored in this life. Number 2 is provision. Provision is anything in terms of having our actual tangible needs met, like food or housing. So if you felt there wasn't enough food growing up, or you had really unstable housing situations, maybe you were moving around a lot, maybe you had a parent who dated a lot of different people and you were shuffled from one house to the next, or anything like that. I can certainly say I had a similar experience with my own mother. She dated many different men after the divorce of my father, and I was at different men's house from time to time, and that was very disorienting to me. I didn't feel the provision of safety, of that security of like a stable housing situation. So that creates a divide there too, in which there's a sense of instability. There's a sense of not having security in life and kind of just being afraid of where life's going to take me next, where I'm going to live, right? So unless that's healed, there can be deep instability in life and an expectation that security is not possible. And then lastly is protection. So if either of your parents didn't provide you with protection in terms of your physical safety, then that again can deeply shatter this sense of trust in life. Because if you're physically hurt in any way, maybe you're taken advantage of, maybe there's sexual abuse from people you don't know, like being in vulnerable situations and not having your parents watch out after you. That can also be played out in your teenage years, where if a parent was not really around enough to protect you, like your father worked a lot and you were able to run off with your friends in high school, and maybe you got into some risky behavior and potentially even sexual vulnerable situations, right? Like these are all examples, but that can again shatter your sense of trust and your sense of safety even in your own body. So wow, these permeate our collective society, our collective consciousness, and they get transmitted from one to another to each of us. So if we don't heal these, we can pass these down to our own children. We can unconsciously pass these on to people in our lives, just by telepathically even. So we really want to heal these. And the 3 ways that we can heal these are really placing the attention back on ourselves, really giving ourselves the love, the provision, the protection that we most desperately needed as children, and mending and reuniting ourselves with our mind and our hearts, and recentering into our true soul core essence. So the first way, and these are very on the court practical ways we can do it, is the first way is you're going to want to set aside some time, I would say even a day, where you just take yourself on a solo date, where you just provide yourself with the things that you felt you most needed as a child. And those could be silly things. You might think of them as silly things, such as maybe you wanted your parent to take you on an ice cream date, right? Maybe that was something that you wish that your parents would have done. Go take yourself on that ice cream date. You might have really desired to see a certain musical play, or go do something fun like roller skating. Do these things for yourself, and do these things for yourself on your own. Just truly relish in your own company here. No matter how awkward or weird you might feel this is, if you deeply, deeply wish you had these experiences and they were not available to you as a child for whatever reason that is, go and do that for yourself and feel into it. And you may just not even feel anything at all, but you're opening up that door. You're allowing yourself to mend this gap. And over time, you can redo this practice, and more you're going to feel this this reunion within yourself. All right. And then number 2, another way that you can powerfully create some unity within your soul is to create powerful morning and evening rituals for yourself. I like to do something that really relaxes and comforts my inner child. So in the morning, I'll do like a hot, warm nut milk or an oat milk, and I'll warm that up and I'll just sip on it and just feel the warmth of that nourish and comfort me before I start my day, before I jump into all of the madness that feels like it has to happen, all the work, all the stress, all the errands, all the emails, whatever it is. I set aside a cherished time before I do any of that, before I even look at my phone, and I give myself that moment of just nourishment. And you can do this at the end of the day as well, after you've had all of those things happen. Set aside some time before you close out the day, because this is your ritual of saying you matter to you. No matter what was not given to you as a child. You are giving yourself the time. And lastly, and probably I would say a priority here, number 3 way, or third way rather, is forgiveness practices towards your parents. Because harboring any resentment, unforgiveness, any ill feelings towards what was not provided to you as a child, that is residual, painful, stuck emotion, and that gets lodged in your cells. And if that cellular memory is not healed and not released, it follows us. It impacts our relationships, and it creates divide between other people and ourselves. And it essentially continues this cycle of not feeling loved. So forgiveness towards our parents is paramount, absolutely paramount. And some ways you can do that with forgiveness meditations even are going on YouTube, finding forgiveness meditations, mother healing, father healing, really healing those wounds with the mother, healing the wounds with the father. I'll be putting out a parental healing meditation and energy healing as well, so keep an ear out for that. But in the meantime, do some of your own research there. There's different rituals you can do as well, writing letters to them. But start with a meditation because that will really ease you into it. Okay, everybody, so those were the 3 powerful ways that we can heal from childhood neglect starting today. So schedule some time to do that solo date. Pick something that really nourishes you in the morning before you do anything else for anyone else. And thirdly, practice some forgiveness towards your parents in whatever way feels comfortable for you right now. All right, this is Laura with Lifted with Laura, and I will be seeing you very, very soon on another recording. All right, bye-bye.